right here in the middle ground is where we'll stand. Let go of the riddle, 'cause you'll find life is a riddle that we're not meant to understand. Just look on, and I'll look down, and all your fears have run aground. Then you said, all I ever wanted was to love like this. All I ever needed was to feel like something more than a closed door flat on the floor. I can offer so much more. All I ever wanted was to feel at ease. All I ever needed was to get up off my feet. 'Cause I here we go again. Trying hard, but you wanna be my friend. In a place, but if you wanna travel, then go alone.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Problem Solver Politics live stream this beautiful Thursday night. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with none other than the illustrious, the intelligent, the erudite, and the underrated Cody the Oracle.
Oh, thank you. Too kind. What does erudite mean?
Oh, erudite? It's E-U... No, it's E-R-U-D-I-T-E.
You don't have to use it in a sentence. Just what does it mean?
Erudite means
I don't know.
Very well educated, philosophical, intellectual. I would say it is the opposite of layman. So it is it's the philosophical person's way of saying philosophical without sounding like he uses a word as simple as philosophical. Does that make sense, Cody?
The more you talk about that word, less I like that word.
All right, so today we're actually going to be talking about the fallout of this interesting gate. Everything's called gate. There's Watergate, there's Russiagate, there's everything gate whenever there's a scandal. But it looks like Nancy Pelosi's blowout gate, what are we calling it now? Salon-gate, I believe it is having much deeper and further ramifications than we originally anticipated. Cody, tell us what's going on.
All right. Well, I mean, the story itself is, I guess, like many stories, it starts pretty simple and it gets stupid and confusing and ridiculous the more you go into it. Basically, so what happened? So Nancy Pelosi, the congresswoman from the great state of California, our own state, well, for now, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, was caught, and I mean, you could see on the right-hand side of the video here, she was caught at a local salon inside with her mask down. Now, why does this matter? And I honestly, I kind of want to talk about that because I'll put what I think about if this matters or not. However, I thought it was interesting. Even you'll notice, even some CNN, Meanwhile in America, by analysis by Stephen Collison with Shelby Rose, Nancy Pelosi will never live Salon-gate down. Because of course, for greater context here, Nancy Pelosi, as well as many of the House Democrats, have been very serious about wearing masks, social distancing, lockdowns that are, causing businesses to close being necessary. And then we see this happen. Now, where things start getting weird, and before we get further into this, I guess, I want to talk about another story. Very similar to this one. This was a few months ago now. I want to get the exact date correctly. Around April this happened. So around April, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, very similar circumstance, she was caught out getting her hair done when no one was allowed to get their hair cut.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I thought was interesting. Journalists pressed her on this, and they said, so reporters pressed Mayor Lightfoot on why she was getting haircuts while everyone else can't because she closed all barbershops and hair salons. Fair line of questioning, right? First tried to deflect, saying, I think really people want to talk about is we're talking about people dying here. Tried to deflect. So what she said. She says, I'm the public face of this city. I'm on national media, and I'm out in the public eye. I'm a person who, I take my personal hygiene very seriously. As I said, I felt like I needed to have a haircut. Not able to do that myself, so I got a haircut. You want to talk more about that? So basically, her defense was more or less, I'm an important person. I'm the mayor.
Yeah.
I have to go on TV, so yeah, I get to get my haircut and you don't because I'm the mayor. Was more or less her point. So going back, what was Nancy Pelosi's response when asked about? Hold on, make sure I want to get the quote right here so you guys can read this. So when asked, because now at a press conference a day or so later, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi said that she was set up and she's owed an apology from the salon. So Washington Post has an article here. We'll go through a little bit of the whatever you want to call about this. And then we'll talk a little bit about the thing itself. So I want to scroll down a bit here. I believe they have the quote here from Nancy Pelosi because they're going to mention that coronavirus regulations are constantly changing. I love this. Oh, Nancy Pelosi. How could the Speaker of the House possibly be expected to know?
Yeah. That's what blew me away about this whole response, Cody, was to say I didn't know the local ordinance that hair salons were closed completely is like a prohibition mafioso saying, oh, I didn't know you couldn't sell beer during the 20s. Oh, I didn't know hard liquor was off the table. No, everybody knows during the 20s, alcohol was prohibited and you'd get busted for having any kind of alcohol whatsoever. it's not like she was caught in a library where I would believe it if somebody were to say, I didn't know libraries were closed too. But salons and gyms and basically bars, we know are just closed. Have been for 6 months, will be for another 6 months. To me, there's just no excuse for this. And if she's willing to lie about something so small, in which you could probably get away with just saying, yeah, I'm on TV a lot and I want to get it done. I got caught, mea culpa. If you're willing to lie about something as small as this, and you won't even fess up to a small sin like this, what on earth makes me think you won't lie about the ramifications of X, Y, or Z legislature? Am I wrong here, Cody?
Well, I think like usual, you're kind of taking it to the 38th degree immediately instead of just. But how about this? Let's go through the rest of the story first, okay?
Okay.
This is where it gets weird. We said it was a setup, and this is what I think is interesting. So, Nancy Pelosi told reporters in San Francisco, quote, "This is ridiculous." Let me ask you guys something. Does this sound like an apology? Quote, "I take responsibility for trusting the word of a neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years many times. And when they said we were able to accommodate one person at a time and that we could set up that time, I trusted that. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. That's all I'm going to say on that." Doesn't sound very genuine.
Oof.
Doesn't sound like she's really apologizing. But she did claim she was set up, and this is where it gets weird. Is when so Pelosi didn't elaborate. However, the stylist who did her hair issued a statement hours later accusing the salon's owner, Erica Kios, of misleadingly framing Pelosi as the only client to have visited the salon in person in months. The fact that Ms. Kios is now objecting to Speaker Pelosi's presence at eSalon SF. From a simple surface level review of her political leanings, it appears she is furthering a setup of Speaker Pelosi for her own vain aspirations, says the statement from the stylist who did her hair. This is where it gets weird as well. I noticed this yesterday. So, yes, this was last night. The salon owner, this Miss Kios, actually appeared on Tucker Carlson to defend herself, saying that she's already been receiving death threats and claiming that her Yelp page had been bombarded with bad reviews. And that's really the story right there. But it is pretty crazy that we've got to this point. Again, Lori Lightfoot, by the way, the mayor of Chicago, much more directly in control of if these things are open or closed. Nancy Pelosi's a congressperson. She can't exactly. Now, I will say her nephew did open salons up the next day. But it's not like Nancy Pelosi can change these laws by herself. She would, she's not
Who's
what
her
she
nephew
does.
again?
The governor of California.
No, I know, but I know that he's related. I wasn't sure if it was exact nephew, because doesn't she have like three direct relatives?
Her governor of California nephew, Gavin Newsom. He changed the laws. But then just in one day, we have Nancy Pelosi coming out to apologize, claiming she was set up. We have a statement released by the stylist, and then the owner of the salon herself appears on Tucker Carlson to defend herself. So that was the last 48 hours or so of this Salon-gate. I have to say, personally, I don't care at all about this.
Really? You don't see how this is the microcosm representative of the macrocosm?
How many people in this chat? How about this? Let he who has not skirted coronavirus lockdowns in some way for their own convenience throw the first stone. How about that, right? I mean, I get she's a congressperson. Should be held to a higher standard. I don't love seeing it. Tell you what.
Also, she hasn't had to go jobless.
I definitely keep this stuff in mind. Exactly. But, dude, I'm not gonna pretend just for political reasons that Congress people get to get away with things other people don't. The Speaker of the House has been... Hold on a minute. Are you telling me the Speaker of the House gets to get away with things I wouldn't? I mean, you could say that's a problem, because it is, but pretending the problem exists because Nancy Pelosi just did it now, I think it's a little bit goofy.
Okay. I take it as actually very important, because though it's basically obvious that the salon owner at this point, we figured out that, okay, cool, she meant to expose and do damage to the reputation of Nancy Pelosi. I don't view them as equals.
She didn't accidentally leak the footage, exactly.
Yeah, she didn't accidentally leak it. Like, she purposely sent it out to embarrass Nancy Pelosi. But at the same point, wouldn't you? And isn't that what the color of change does? Specifically go after people that they politically disagree with? I mean, it's just Democrats never have to play defense is the problem. And the second it happens, they lose their crap and they don't know what to do. Look, this is a single mom with 2 kids. You took away her livelihood for no good reason, for pure pseudoscience. Okay, pseudoscience and political expediency, because you figured out that a way to make people fearful was through lockdowns. And so you've been extending these lockdowns as this massive power orgy, and for no other measurable quantifier beyond your political control. And it's ruined people's lives. But you don't care because yours isn't ruined and you're getting the votes you want and your donors are getting the high stock prices that they need. So you finally got hit by somebody you hurt. And you don't know how to handle it because you're always the one out there accusing everybody else. And I don't view them as equals. In fact, I think any Democrat that doesn't absolutely renounce Nancy Pelosi's action on this can no longer ever again claim the victim blaming problem. Because this girl is the victim of lockdowns. The salon owner is the victim of bad governance, bad lockdowns. And for Nancy Pelosi to go out and then say, oh, I'm the victim. No. This is literally the textbook definition of victim blaming. And if you don't renounce Nancy Pelosi on this victim blaming, you can't use the word anymore in our chat. No more victim blaming in the chat.
Yeah, it's a word that comes up a lot. Definitely a big hot button issue in the chat right there is victim blame.
Well, that and gaslighting. Like gaslighting and victim blaming are the new progressive words.
Nancy Pelosi, she's a congressperson from San Francisco. She thinks she's better than you, okay? I can tell you that. If someone's a politician from an elite city, they think they're better than you. That's how politics have worked in this country for a very long time. Yes, they think... Oh, your audio's playing. They think that there's rules that apply to you and apply to me and don't apply to them. Because they're in Congress. Lori Lightfoot, she's a mayor. Great excuse. Well, I have to go on TV. I'm important.
Well, she's a good governor.
People have to see me on TV so I can do things you... Like, that is a problem. I agree. It has nothing to do with Nancy Pelosi getting her hair done and a salon owner. I don't know. I just thought it was crazy to see how quickly things spiraled out of control. From the video gets leaked, we have the stylist issuing a press release, we have the owner going on Tucker, we have Nancy Pelosi doing a press conference, and... What a crazy thing. But I will say...
You know what I actually think too, Cody, though, is how do we stop these people from getting so depraved and so bad? I think if Donald Trump actually makes good with any amount of campaigning on the idea of term limits, that he'll crush it. But also, I'm almost thinking some of these big states, like, as somebody in the chat brought up a good point that like she's actually from Baltimore and she's got this total nor'easter white liberal
serves from
heritage.
She rules.
I know she serves and rules.
She's one of the barons of San Francisco currently.
Dude,
though.
Should some of these states that are just so big make it so like you can't be the governor unless you're from that state?
Like president
like
almost?
Yeah, kind of like you can't be a president. Like you can't just import a Kennedy and win the election like we did with Schwarzenegger, who married a Kennedy. And he just ended up becoming governor because he's an elitist that married into an elitist family.
I would vote for Schwarzenegger again today.
You would?
I might stay in California if he was the governor.
Really? He sucked.
I don't care. Big fan.
Okay, be honest. If Jesse Ventura became our governor, would you stay?
Nah, not as much.
Okay, what's the lowest level of celebrity that you would go to in order to stay in California?
It's not like celebrity. It's just if I like them or not.
Okay. What if Mariah Carey became our governess?
I would definitely stay. Well, I think they're still called governors, right?
They're still called governor. I don't know. Governess is like
I don't
something
think the OR at the end of governor denotes male. Could be wrong. I just don't think it does.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I would definitely. Honestly, I think why not? I think Mariah would be a pretty good governor.
okay. Well, because we've got Gruesome Newsom. And Sly Cactus brought up an awesome pun calling her the Pelosiraptor. That's good. What are we gonna call? What's a good nickname? A good nickname for a governor.
Wait, hold on, before we get to that, though, I want to make your point more, though.
Okay.
I want to share something because we have seen in another Western English speaking country something a little bit not quite something similar happen though. So, a lot of you guys in chat maybe did not hear the story. It's from a few months ago, going back to May. But there is an individual in the United Kingdom by the name of Neil Ferguson. He was actually the UK coronavirus advisor, and I think he actually was the one who put forward the plan for how they would go forward with their lockdown in England or the United Kingdom. So I believe it did cover did cover everywhere. Anyway, my point was this. He was forced to resign after breaking lockdown rules. How did he break the lockdown rules? Let's go through this article and find out. So, They mentioned that Professor Neil Ferguson is an epidemiologist whose modeling helped shape Britain's coronavirus lockdown strategy. He quit as a government advisor after flouting the rules by receiving visits from his lover at his home. The Daily Telegraph revealed that Antonia Stats, who I believe was his mistress, had crossed London from her family home to visit him on at least 2 occasions since lockdown.
He couldn't say no to the booty.
Friends told the newspaper that Stats did not believe their actions to be hypocritical because she considered the households to be one. The visits clearly contravened the government's stay-at-home, save lives message, which urged people to remain within their family groups and not mix with members of other households. But I think it's a quote from Ferguson right here. He said, I accept I made an error of judgment. I took the wrong course of action. I have therefore stepped back from my involvement in Sage. I acted in the belief that I was immune, having tested positive for coronavirus and completely isolated myself for almost 2 weeks after developing symptoms. I deeply regret any undermining of the clear messages around he's on lockdown. The continued need for social distancing to control the devastating epidemic. The government guidance is unequivocal and there to protect all of us. Very interesting. I would say this is more egregious than what Nancy Pelosi did, but still, I mean, he was basically forced to resign because of it. Step down because he was, I think maybe he wasn't married and she was he was having an affair when he's supposed to be locked down, when no one's supposed to be leaving their house. So,
dude, it catches up with you, bro. The infidelity nips you in the butt, man.
You'll notice he was just like, hey, you got me, I quit. Hey, he was an advisor. I get you. He's not the Speaker of the House. But it's fine. Nancy Pelosi they owe me an apology. Just the gall, man. That's what our politicians think of us. It's like we bust them for breaking the rules. Like, yeah, she should have known better, but they didn't really set her up, but they definitely laid the trap, right? But still, it's like the gall to turn around and say, instead of her saying, look, I should have been better, I should have known, I shouldn't, and I shouldn't have to tell them, but I'm still a politician. I really should have stepped in and said, I don't think that's right? Or I should have looked into it. Either way.
Yeah.
The gall to turn around and say, no, you owe me an apology. It's like when Dick Cheney, remember Dick Cheney, when he shot that guy in the face and then that guy apologized to him? It's like, I'm sorry, sorry, Mr. Cheney, for the stress we caused your family. Crazy stuff. But.
Yeah. Man, a guy has got the ultimate flex on you when you wrong him and you have to apologize to him. That's power. And Nancy Pelosi has that power. By the way, shout out to Nate Dogg in the chat. Yeah. Nate Dogg, guys, he just had a baby.
Very cool.
Rock on.
Congratulations.
And he's catching us on the hospital's Wi-Fi. Hey, your hospital's Wi-Fi is pretty good then if you're catching a straight up live stream.
Yeah, very cool.
Because there's a lot of people on that bandwidth, man. I could never use my hospital's Wi-Fi unless it was like midnight. Because there's always too many people on it. So, awesome. Congratulations, Nate Dogg. Hey, Chemo Brain's kicking in. I got so excited about Nate Dogg's baby. I forgot what we were talking about. Oh, yeah. Our politicians being absolute hypocrites about the lockdown. So what's going to break the lockdown, though, Cody? Because I'm a little bit freaked out here. In California, Gavin Newsom basically said, we're not having a lockdown until there's a vaccine. So I have to put some unknown, untested, politically motivated, and made by a donor of the Democrat Party vaccine into my body before I'm allowed to cruise.
No, keep going down keep going down that exact same line of thinking. Don't stop.
No, well, seriously, how can you say it's FDA approved when it takes a decade to get a drug FDA approved?
Hey, keep talking, man. I hear it. Keep talking.
Wait, what? Are you going to totally just bring up some kind of thing that shows I'm an idiot and misquoted myself or what?
No, I'm just showing you that you have a friend and an ally, and our former representative Katie Hill.
Uh-huh.
She says a little bit different conclusion. She got there a little bit different, but same conclusion. So I'm a big fan of vaccines, but damn, I'm skeptical of one supposed to have been developed, tested, produced, and distributed in 6 months. Right in time for the re-election of our very own dictator.
Oh.
That's what I mean. You seem like two-piece. You're of one mind, really, when it comes to this vaccine. It's I thought it was cool to show you that. I just thought, hey, sometimes, building bridges, right? You didn't know you had so much in common.
Okay, cool. Well, no, she has a shred of common sense left in her. Well, it's probably because she's had to go a couple weeks without booty from both genders, both
other thing is
interns and subordinates.
122,000 likes. A lot of people agree with the sentiment, so I want to highlight on that.
Oh, interesting.
When she said it, a lot of people agreed.
Yeah, so I do. Well, is the vaccine's far less motivated by Trump than it is by.
Are you suddenly now defending the vaccine? Like,
Well, no, I
hold
just
on
don't
a
get-
minute. Now maybe vaccine good.
No, I'm just saying I don't understand what she's saying. Right in time for the re-election. Do you think the vaccine would be helping Trump?
Yes. If suddenly coronavirus wasn't
But he
a
hasn't
problem.
been claiming to be the dude that made the vaccine.
No, but like if suddenly we were getting vaccinated, if they were just like reopening, we're all getting vaccinated, no one cares anymore. Like all of like the coronavirus attacks they are
See,
launching
it's
just
because
go
it
away.
seems to me that Donald Trump does better when he seems like what he is saying is in opposition to the Democrats and he's fighting on your behalf. So to me, a better political move for him would be saying, despite the state's lockdown orders, I'm opening up federal grounds. I'm opening up federal
Well, no, but
this,
my
federal
only, my
that.
only point is this idea is prevalent apparently across party lines that people are going to be. There's I guess the larger point you can draw is this: there ain't no way in hell the vaccine rollout's going to go smoothly. There's going to be people. It seems like for multiple reasons.
Well, they did say it's going to essential
rejecting
work,
it.
not essential workers first, but like the rich first, I'm sure.
They should do it the way they did it in the movie Contagion.
Yeah, where they lie to half the people and it's just a placebo.
No, that's not what they did in Contagion.
Yeah, in Contagion, when they finally did make a vaccine, half of it was a placebo, and they would give it to people in order to get the ones that they wanted out, and they give them the real vaccine.
No, you misunderstood that scene.
Are you saying I misunderstood it? Saying
1,000%. I know exactly
so
what I mean.
how did I misunderstand it?
The scene you're talking about is when French actress, forgot her name.
Yeah, she's a
she's
French chick.
kidnapped and
Yeah.
ransomed for vaccine. Yeah, that's not what I mean. What I'm talking about
And
is
then she goes back to the village.
no. They exchange the vaccines for her, and then they tell her it was a fake vaccine they gave in the ransom to the terrorists. No.
Yeah.
In the United States, they distributed the ransom. They would just do a lottery, and they would select birth dates. And then, everyone who's born on this day, they get the vaccine next. That's probably the fairest way, right? Just pull. You know what the problem, though, is? We notice this. There's clusters of births, right? Like, there's things that happen 9 months after other things where a lot of babies tend to be born. But, like, think about it. If there really was, like, a trickled-out release of a vaccine like that, the method of having a lottery to draft birth dates might be one of the fairest ways, right?
I don't think they're going to have that problem because I think there's so many people that don't trust it. I mean, this is the hilarious precipice of Orange Man bad.
Well, that's scary too, though. Imagine if we have an election and we still are trying to litigate the results. No one trusts the election results, and then the government tries to administer a vaccine. I agree. It's actually a very interesting
Like,
combination.
if Katie
of things
Hill
I
is
hadn't thought
hating the
about.
vaccine because of Orange Man bad syndrome, and I'm hating the vaccine because I don't trust that
because
it's
Orange
coming
Man
from
Good syndrome.
No, not Orange Man Good, because I know that all of these freaking big corporations are in bed with the Democrats, and that it's all
And
politically
no one else.
motivated.
Not in bed with our government in general.
Dude,
Just in
I
bed
live in
with
California.
a specific
If I were in
faction.
Texas, I might be singing a different tune, but I live in corrupt, sucky, single-party rule California.
Okay, but I'm saying the government.
So all the
government
donors here
is its
are
own,
Democrat
but
donors.
the government's a thing. Exactly. They donate money to politicians run for. Dude, let me tell you something, man. When these politicians are up in D.C. and those doors close to separate us from them, they know that's what the doors are doing, and they look around and they know it's them versus us. For some reason, it never works the other way with the people. We don't look at each other and realize it's us versus the politicians. It's us versus each other for some reason. Politicians get it, man. When their bodyguards go, "Oh no, excuse me, you can't come in here." When their bodyguards are keeping the us out so they can go in behind it, they know exactly what the game is, man.
Hey, Cody, should we have an election night party?
I might not be here, so I don't know.
That's true. I wonder if we should have an election night viewing party.
Only reason
but,
why-
but the only problem
I
is then
feel
it's
like
all going to
no-
be mail-in.
Exactly.
So we won't know.
There'll be no result. It'll just be, we see who's winning. It'd be like having a first half Super Bowl party and then say, "Okay, go home, everyone. The first half's over." It's like, well, who wins the game? Dow cares. Go home. It'll take too long. We can't meet. It takes too long. Just go home.
Yeah, it's going to end up being like we rent out the hotel that has the glass ceiling in it in the lobby, and then we're planning on, saying Hillary Clinton won and she broke the glass ceiling above us, and we're going to do all this political theater and then end up just having to tell all the volunteers that they got to go home because it's not ready to be not litigated, but announced quite yet. So Anthony Romundo Barron asks, Cody, are you moving? I guess now is a good time to announce that you are considering a very likely, most likely.
I'm preparing to move. Yeah.
You're preparing to move. Tell us exactly the who, the what, the where, and the why behind said move, Cody.
There's not a lot to it. Yeah, I'm moving to Nevada, probably Henderson, Vegas area, coming up pretty soon.
So what made you choose Nevada?
If you look at a map and you look at Los Angeles and you look at like Henderson, Nevada, it's like a 4.5 hour drive. So I'm not planning to live there for the next 40 years necessarily. So that's why. Okay. I like Las Vegas. Los Angeles and California is way too expensive to live in. So I could live for like damn near like half as much.
Just be honest. There's a stripper you got pregnant.
Away.
Cody's going to be a dad. No.
Yeah, and Nevada, of all places that happen. No, it's just Los Angeles is expensive indeed, and I could do all the stuff I do for the most part here from Nevada, where it's cheaper and it's close. And
That's
I like
true.
the desert, and I like Vegas. So,
well, WrestleMania is going to be just one step closer, dog. One step closer. Aren't there like big wrestling events in Vegas?
actually, no, not really.
There's not?
No.
What if we started our own wrestling?
There's like UFC and boxing is big in Vegas, but like not wrestling.
Can we
really.
start our own wrestling promo, you and me, dude?
Oh yeah, definitely, easily. Anyone can start their own wrestling federation. Yeah.
Like what? I guess we would just need to.
Somebody literally just started a new wrestling company like 2 years ago. It's on TV.
Because you could kind of bootleg it. Like we could just live stream wrestling. At this point, everybody knows it's fake, so it's just you and I coming up with narrative, right? Like you and I could be the first wrestlers.
Trust me,
Cody.
no.
Dude? It'd be like Cody versus Cardi.
Trust me,
David and Goliath.
Trust me, a lot of people are out there running outlaw small wrestling companies. Not new.
How do we go watch these things?
Just go online, look them up. They're all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, I think out in California, it'd be PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. That's kind of like one of the bigger but there's even more than that. Yeah.
Cody, if I took you to a Pro Wrestling Guerrilla match, would that be a cool gift? Now, is it Gorilla or Gorilla?
I remember. I think it's PWG though.
Oh my gosh, you're right. PWG, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. Pro Wrestling Guerrilla is an American professional wrestling promotion based in Southern California. It's owned and operated by wrestlers themselves, having been created by Disco Machine, Excalibur, Scott Lost, Joey Ryan, Super Dragon, and Top Gun Talwar. Dude, it's been open since 2003, so this is like legit and long lasting.
Yep. That's enough talk about indie wrestling. But yeah,
Dude,
that's the indie wrestling
If I
from Los
get us
Angeles.
tickets, will you go?
Dude, you don't want to go.
Why not?
You don't want to go.
What? Why? Am I going to like contract HIV there or what? I'm looking at this roster, dude. They got like some tough cats, man.
Yeah, just
Hand
coronavirus.
Doom.
You'll get coronavirus.
Oh, okay.
There's a funny Super Dragon clip though, if you want to pull that one up. Maybe not now, but if you
Okay, dude.
because you can't hear it. It's hard to explain, but it's pretty funny. One of the guys in the crowd keeps chanting "Super Dragon" to the wrestler Super Dragon in the ring, and he's the only one yelling it, and he's yelling it so loud and obnoxiously. Eventually, Super Dragon turns around and starts yelling at the guy in the crowd chanting his name.
That's awesome.
Funny video. But yeah. Anyway, Cody is a liberal. I am a neo-lib, dude. I believe that Hillary Clinton, it was her time. 1,000%, brother. But no, I think that was it. But hold on one second. I wanna bring up something interesting I hadn't thought of before. And again, I thought it was. By the way, I mean, sometimes it doesn't even matter what the crime is. People are just gonna write. Does this headline not make Nancy Pelosi look like she's a little bit like out of touch and elitist and above us? The damn speaker gets a haircut. But it was interesting, right? That we saw this. I wasn't expecting this, but CNN even writes her that she's not like this is. It's kind of the point they bring up in the article, and I've seen other people bring the same point up you did. It's kind of hard for the Democrats to, as a party, because the reason why is the other thing too. Sometimes a Democrat does a thing, and it's a Democrat does a thing, right? I do think it is important to point. The reason why you want to talk about you can talk about the party when you're talking about Nancy Pelosi. She's literally the most powerful Democrat in the world. Like, like that is why when you're talking about like the direction of the party,
the Democrat Party.
Yeah, like she's the Speaker of the House. I mean, like she's a very powerful individual. I agree. It does blow back, and it was kind of to your point, right? So think about this, dude. If we have the most powerful Democratic politician in the world, basically, at least in our country, flouting these lockdown laws. I mean, I saw another article I can pull up to you guys that there's people. Check this out. So there's in Las Vegas. Speaking of Nevada, right? But in Nevada and Las Vegas area, they have a lot of weird rules about what could be open. Are bars, can they be open? Restaurants, taverns. Excuse me, but check this out. So Governor Steve Sisolak, a couple days ago, appearance at a Las Vegas restaurant with live entertainment sparks debate and ire. Bars say they were told they could not provide live entertainment, while restaurants can. What separates a bar from a restaurant? Like, is it the amount of tables you have? So check this out, though. So a viral video went around of Governor Steve Sisolak dining at Pizzeria Monzu on Saturday night. A live entertainment performance just steps away. So you can see in the picture, I believe that's him right there, and they're playing. Check this out. So the restaurant owner, Giovanni Amaro, says he received threatening and harassing phone calls and people upset by the video. And they mentioned that he extended the moratorium on evictions, and they go through. But the big thing I thought was funny about this, and they mentioned that the rules make no. The rules seems to apply to charge and cover out the door. For example, Don't Tell Mama and Neopolis still offers karaoke in downtown Vegas, while Clark County told Ellis Island to stop karaoke. Point is this: the rules are weird and arbitrary. It feels like whatever fancy pants restaurants the governor goes to is allowed to do what they want. Other restaurants can't. People are pissed off they're calling in. My point is, you compare this. You combine this with other politicians flouting lockdown and basically saying I'm better than you. Combine that with what if we do have election problems? We don't know who won. And then what if after all of that, they try to put a vaccine on us? Dude, I wouldn't blame people for being a little bit like, I don't know if I really trust the government right now. They kept lying to me, saying they're basically having politicians dance around like they're better than me, do whatever the hell they want. Now we don't know who the president is, but I should just take the vaccine. I agree. Something that maybe wouldn't have been controversial and as much pushback would bring more with stuff like this building up to it and leading to, again, CNN having some analysis saying Nancy Pelosi will never live this down. It's not quite, let them eat cake, but this is one of those, what, you stupid peasants, why do you care kind of moments. And it's like you said, well, my life was ruined and I lost my job and everything I worked for, so that's why I care. Thankfully I have, other people have, right?
Do we have
Mark
any
was
stats?
out for him. But but what do you think though? What do you think about that? What do you think the same way that if this stuff continues where it's the government just blatantly yanking our chain and they try to put a vaccine on us? Yeah, like I said, I showed you Katie Hill, someone you definitely don't necessarily, I guess, generally not of kindred, of one mind on.
She's like one of the few people are unwilling to say she's a bad person.
Yeah, which I don't think she's a bad person, but either way, you'll see, like, even right now, both of you already are at that point of like, I don't trust the government enough to take their vaccine. Imagine where we'll be a couple months from now, especially if the election doesn't go well.
Cody,
that's the big thing I'm bringing up here.
I think, and let me try and put your thoughts in previous words you've said into play here. Oftentimes you have little tidbits and little sound bites that make me think a lot. And about 6 months ago, you said something during show prep that you ended up mirroring during the live stream itself. And you said something to the tune of, I think that the most important thing that I just instinctually, and I'm paraphrasing you here, but I remember you said, like, the most important thing I look at a leader first is whether or not I have a feeling that they view us as their people. Like the number one way that I judge a leader is whether or not he's thinking, okay, I am leading my people. Okay. Regardless of whether you think it's a monarchy, a democracy, a whatever, the first thing you instinctually look at, and I'm sure it's based off of something evolutionary or whatever, but just in your core, you need to feel, if you're going to respect or admire or even just play nice with said leader, you need to feel like they feel that you are one of their people, right? And when these things happen and this hypocrisy happens, instinctually, the opposite of you feeling like, okay, We're in the same boat together. That is my king. Instinctually, it drives a wedge between the ruler and the people. And on an instinctual base emotional basis, people start feeling like, oh, well, if they don't have to follow the rules, we're not in this thing together. They think they're better than me. We're not in the same boat. And the exact opposite of what your initial reaction and judgment of leaders happens. You start feeling like you're not in it with this person. And that right there, I think, is one of the most powerful things that you can do to either vilify an opponent during an election, or else just the fastest way to lose an election is make it so that people don't think that you are in it with them. Everybody wants to charge the beaches of Normandy with their leaders, not for their leaders. Do you see what I'm saying? And most people are willing to go ahead with anything if they feel their leaders are in it with them. But the second the leaders stop doing it, especially if it's something drastic that's cost people's lives, their blood or their fortune, then, now you're just going to have a bunch of pissed off people. And I think Nancy Pelosi, this I think is one of the only things that's going to stick on her. This is one of the only things I think that will really stick on her. And it seems to have been sticking because of that base emotional reaction. Does that make sense, Cody?
Yeah, a little bit. Do you want to get a super chat?
Oh, yeah. Ooh, whoops. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention to super chats. Oh, dude. Holla. Michael Canoyer. We haven't gotten a super chat from Michael before. Says, recent study shows vitamin D supplementation reduced COVID ICU admittance from 50% to 2%. Search Master John vitamin D. Okay, first off, before I search that, I'll tell you I completely believe that, only because I'm very familiar with the vitamin D studies. And I think they polled, like Joe Rogan talked about this once. I had to go through a class talking about it, ironically enough, when we were doing our heat stroke certification training for my license and everything. There was like this whole section on vitamin D and how, your body processes it with the sun and you need to be out in the sun, but not for too long and so on and so forth. And I was reading the studies they had just in like the bonus materials of the continuing education form that I had. And did you know, like, for the past 40 years, they've been doing like random samples of the American population. Like 85% of us are like near like completely malnourished for vitamin D. You know what I'm saying? Like the average American is horribly deficient in vitamin D and magnesium because like we don't go out, we don't get in the sun and so on and so forth. And so yeah, and then it was also in those bonus materials showing all the different, how it contributes to obesity, it contributes to depression, it contributes to this and that. So it does not surprise me. I want to read the study and actually see what the, scientifically verified facts and figures are. But I'll tell you right now, at face value, Michael Canoyer, I am not at all surprised that a deficiency in vitamin D increases ICU admittance when you have some kind of potentially comorbid ailment. Yeah, that does not all surprise me. And I'm going to look that up. Master John vitamin D. Cody, what do you have to say?
About what?
Well, are you going to look that up? I'm going to look this
I
up
did
really
pull some
fast.
stuff up. I have to.
What does it say?
I want to look more into it. I saw some videos and stuff. I have to look into it more only because YouTube will like delete our channel if they decided it wasn't the YouTube approved information. But it is speaking to the kind of stuff I pulled up. I'm looking more into it, but it does speak to the kind of stuff I figured. I was hoping eventually it was going to obviously happen, right? Where we will start figuring out the things that work and what actually is treating people and keeping people out of the ICU. So I read that.
And you know something I like about this?
I believe it. It's really good to hear. I hope we are figuring out some things and better treatments that work for some people, but still that we're finding something that's good.
So the other thing that I like about this is I'm so sick and tired of like fake news and fake science. And by fake, we mean politically motivated, not actually, magical. But I like that I'm seeing videos by this Master John guy, PhD, resolving the vitamin D paradox that are published in 2014. You know what I'm saying? I like that I'm seeing that he's doing symposiums on this kind of stuff like before it was politically expedient, which makes me think I want to listen to him more. So, yeah. Oh, here's the one that he published 12 hours ago. Interesting. So vitamin D, I'm going to start freaking supplementing with vitamin D, man. I'm going to be taking my HCQ, my hydroxy, then be taking my zinc and then be taking my vitamin D? You know, I asked my doctor about, I asked my doctor about the hydroxychloroquine, bro, and the zinc. You know what I'm saying? And he told me, he's like, he just gave me like this big, he's like, well, the CDC hasn't come out with anything. He's like, I wouldn't spend my money on it. He's like, zinc's good. Zinc has all kinds of cool benefits and whatnot. But interestingly enough, I can't take most vitamins with my chemo. I can't take them like within 12 hours of it or something like that, or else they cross and they mesh up. So I take vitamins in the morning and then chemotherapy in the evening/afternoon. So that's my plan, Cody.
Cool, dude.
What you looking at, man? What you looking at, dog?
Who knows, right? Let's go. I got a couple more super chats here, right?
Okay, hit it.
So we got Adam Duffy. Did you get that one, $2 super chat? It said, what up, dudes? What up, dude? Glad I made it. Welcome, man. And then Tony Shido, $2 super chat, said, kids drink milk, so are they less vulnerable? Kids in general just seem to be faring better during the coronavirus.
And also, what is the truth? I want to read what this Master John guy has to say, because I know they invented vitamin D milk because they thought that, you know, okay, we need to give kids vitamin D. But then I saw these studies that says the human body can only absorb vitamin D in an acidic environment. So you actually, milk counteracts a lot of stomach acid. So maybe vitamin D milk is a little bit counterintuitive, and that the body can only absorb vitamin D through the pathways of the membranes of the stomach if it's in an acidic environment. So actually taking vitamin D in pill form or food form in vegetables is like the only real way to get it, or so on and so forth. But I don't know what the truth is on that, because it seems like every 2 years they change their mind. It's like sodium. Every 2 years they just change their minds. And studies show that sodium is going to kill you and it's contributing to early death. Oh, wait, but no, we reverse that. No, sodium's great. Eat as much as you want. In fact, you need it. You know? And then 96, they flip-flop. And then 2014, they flip-flop. And nobody knows if salt's going to kill you or not. But, you know, every 10 years, the scientific community has a new study telling us whether or not salt is good for us or not, that reverses the orthodox opinion of the scientific community at large from what it thought 10 years earlier. So I don't know. Vitamin D seems to be falling in that category as well. I know you need it, and being outside is good for you. And if you don't have it, you get deficient. And I think I'm potassium deficient, dog, because I've been getting like little muscle twitches lately. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you even? Where's potassium at?
Bananas.
Okay, here you go.
Yeah, I think you gotta eat more bananas.
Eat banana bread every day for breakfast.
My mom used to work at IBM, and she said she hates bananas because there used to be this coworker she had that was on a medication that was a laxative that also made her potassium deficient. So whenever she had to go to the bathroom, her friend would have to go to the bathroom with her, and she would hear her just completely disemboweling herself while eating a banana. So she wouldn't get potassium deficient. And so my mom just always mentally associated that experience in the corporate world with bananas from then on out. So I don't have that baggage with me, so maybe I'll try and eat bananas. But it's a heavy fruit. Do you like bananas, Cody?
I honestly don't know.
No, yeah, I'm not a big fan of bananas either. So I got to find something else that has potassium in it. So anyway, Cody, I have a theory. Can I just tell you my theory?
By all means.
Okay. I think the lockdowns end November 5th. Or maybe the 10th. And here's the reason why. I'm calling it the election infection. Okay. Because if Donald Trump gets reelected, he's not at all worried about reelection at all. He's not going for third term, none of that nonsense. Okay. If he gets reelected, then what's going to happen is he's going to say enough of this crap. He's going to be sending in not the National Guard. He's going to be sending in whoever he's got to send in to quell the riots, even if it's under the guise of protecting federal property, so it's legal and not in the violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. If Trump gets reelected, this ends within 2 weeks. If Biden gets elected, the media got what it wanted, and they'll be tired of being responsible for the bleeding. And they'll be like, okay, cool. We got what we wanted. Orange Man Bad is out of there. Biden's our guy in there. Okay, now we can open up. Now we need to make Biden look good. So we need to show how great the economy is and boost everything up. And so that's going to require opening up. So they're going to open up. So no matter what, no matter who gets elected, lockdowns start stopping on the 5th, by the 14th, they're done. How's that for a theory?
Kind of simplistic.
Simple is beautiful, baby.
Yeah. I think neither of those things are going to happen.
Okay. Why not?
I just don't think that's the way the world works. I don't think the lockdowns are a massive conspiracy revolving around if Joe Biden gets elected president or not.
You don't think it has a huge deal in America with why the media behaves the way it does?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, dude, I think the lockdowns will end. I don't know. I have to admit, you've thought further on when they will end. I honestly haven't thought about when they will end. I feel like it would take longer. I guess the longer point though. November feels early for me. But here we go. A couple super chats. Joseph Gibbs, $5. An election week will be a mess until mail-in ballots are counted. At least they can stop politicizing everything after it's over. Oh, that's the beginning, man.
Yeah.
That's when they can start politicizing things after it's over.
Yeah.
$5 super chat from Steven Absher says, I don't know if you guys have already mentioned it, but with the Pelosi situation and what Cardin was saying, it rings very close to the 28th Amendment.
Jeez, what's the 28th Amendment? I
Hold
forgot.
on up. Got it at the top of my head. I don't know what 28th Amendment is
28th.
either. I know there's the amendment that says that the government can't board soldiers in your home. That's my favorite amendment. Well, I'm telling you, dude, like the first few amendments really are like the Revolution amendments, right? Like
Well, the First Amendment is freedom of religion.
dude, if the
freedom
government
of-
can suppress your freedom of speech, suppress your right to bear arms, suppress your ability to gather, and board soldiers in your home, good luck having a revolution against them. Okay?
We just got snoped, bro. The 28th Amendment says there's only 27 amendments.
Uh-huh.
Wait a second.
That's why I hadn't heard of that one. It didn't
Yeah.
exist.
Okay. Oh, that says the 28th Amendment. Does a proposed constitutional amendment seek to require that laws apply equally to U.S. citizens and members of Congress? So it looks like somebody had proposed the Congressional
Even if that
Reform Act.
passed, their members of Congress will get better treatment than you and me. They always will because they're Congress people.
Yeah.
It's the same way like
But I mean, they should because
LeBron James will get better treatment than me everywhere he goes because he's LeBron James. You know, like you look at these.
No, Cody. No, he has burdens. People know who he is, and he doesn't get to sleep at night. And wherever he goes, everybody's asking him for autographs.
Okay.
And
My point being, you know, like the proverbial John Elway will never have to buy a beer in Denver again for the rest. Anyway, like there's certain areas where certain people, because of what they did in that area, literally will get preferential treatment to others. You know?
Okay. Magic Mike says, preach, Cardin. Another chatter says, Cardin nailed it. And Trev Third says, I agree with Cardin. Dude, 3 for 4 right there, Cody. That's a 750 batting average, dog.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
That's a very interesting way.
750
It's a very
batting average.
interesting way of looking at things, to be frank.
No, so I want to know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Do you agree with me that this is the election infection and everything starts going away as of, well, I shouldn't say November 5th because they may not have finished counting ballots, but within 2 weeks, we're going to know who the winner is. And no matter what, I think if Donald Trump gets reelected, it actually goes away slower. If Biden gets reelected within 30 days, every single state fully opened
That
up
makes no
100%.
sense. That
Yes,
makes no
because
sense.
then the media will
Joe
have gotten what they
Biden-
wanted.
Well, 1 second. Exactly. If in the lens of the media cabal runs reality, I understand. But dude, what was all this Joe Biden's 3-month mandatory mask mandate? If he just says, never mind, reopen everything, like that'd be a weird messaging. Maybe he would say that was my plan all along. Part of the mask mandate is we reopen. But dude, like Joe Biden does not set himself up like rhetorically to do that. It would come across as bizarre if he were.
Yeah.
It'd be really weird if Joe Biden got elected and he was like, actually, like, it would make him look like a liar almost. Like, he's basically running on having mandatory mask mandates through March or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how weird would it be if he was like, JK, never mind. Anyway, let's get the super chat. Nathan Butcher, $5. No other job can you do for 1 year, retire, and receive your pay until death. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't think you actually can hit 1 year. I think you actually have to hit. It's short. It's not 1 year. I think it's 1 term. Wait, no, I think it's 2 terms. You have to do at least 2 terms. Because I remember we had a local official who was beloved, and people wanted him to run for Congress, but he had a really good job, and maybe it wasn't the right time in his life and whatnot. And he did point out that, look, if I go to Congress for one term, I don't get that magical pension. That magical pension is kind of actually a urban legend. You get the same pension as the top tier of federal workers, but it's part, but it's like the longer you serve, within short order, you have reached the top tier, but it's not like you show up 1 year and then you get paid $250,000 per life. It's not so simple. But I think, to his point, the threshold is low enough that it seems as though it's a ruling class affair. I get that. And some actually could say that federal government employees are a ruling class.
Dude, why are so many of these, like Ted Wheeler, mayor of Portland, I guess he's like a super millionaire, Nancy Pelosi. Like, why are so many of these like politicians? Like,
because they're in on the real estate deals. They can rezone real estate. They could buy for $5 a piece of land in the middle of nowhere that's like literally zoned as a nuclear waste dump. And then they just get their buddies to rezone it as like, UB3 commercial. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden it's quintupled in value. And they sell it. And whoa, what do you know? I was just so lucky. Oh, my $1 million compared to
I have a question for this, though. Hold on. We're going to theory craft about lockdowns and stuff, right?
Okay.
What if...
Keep those super chats coming, by the way, guys.
Honestly, an authoritarian sci-fi dystopian state, you know what they would do?
What would
they would... They would tighten up the lockdowns if street level violence was an issue, just to keep people in their houses. So as justification, like people ask, why do they have curfews? Well, because if there's a curfew and all you have to do to be breaking the law is be outside. So like they're justified to like start engaging with you in law enforcement immediately because you're not supposed to be out here. I could see delaying the lockdown is because the other thing, dude, I have to imagine coronavirus isn't necessarily like a fairy tale. It exists. And I have to imagine if more people leave the house to go fight each other in the streets, they'll be spreading coronavirus to each other. And I have to imagine that will be a problem too. Like, dude, there's always so many things going on at once. Speaking of, we still have, I think today, India implored other countries to join them in banning Chinese apps and websites. We talked about it on the stream like about a month, two or 3 months ago, that India banned like 150 apps for stealing data. Dude, some of the apps they banned were like day planner apps. Like they were like saying like they're stealing our information for like there is more going on than just the election and their lockdown. Unfortunately,
so Andrew Holman has a super chat here. Thank you very much, Andrew Holman. Says Democrats believe Trump will have a landslide on vote day, then Biden will be announced winner a week later. The red mirage, they're calling it already. Look, I got to tell you, that legit happened to us in California.
Orange County had a red mirage.
Yeah. In Orange County, literally every single seat was run by, actually I shouldn't say literally. I think there was one where on election day, the Republican was actually behind. Or was that San Diego with Rohrabacher? I can't remember. But in Orange County, basically, there's 5 seats, and Orange County has always been a red bastion, like one of the only red dots in all of California, okay? And on election day, the vast majority of winners were all Republicans by some of them like double-digit leads. It was an absolute landslide. Like it was always been a predictable landslide until all of the ballots started coming in, because ballot harvesting isn't cheating. No, and people aren't grabbing tons and tons and tons of mail-in ballots that they harvested from a bunch of elderly people and then steaming them in their garages and filling them out for them. No. One person isn't capable of doing 400 of these in a day, thus in a week doing 2,400, thus in 3 weeks doing nearly 10,000. No, that's not happening. No, there's no widespread abuse. Meanwhile, Representative Kim, this beautiful Asian woman who had broadcast in both Korean and in English her entire campaign, ended up winning, going to freshman orientation, and then being called back, excuse me, because she lost to Cisneros, that guy that had won with lottery money, with all of these ballots that finally came in. By the way, it means they actually just had to be postmarked on the day of or collected on the day of. And how can you verify if they were collected on the day of? You can't. How can you verify that's actually from a real person? You can't. You can put these things out in your freaking printing press in the middle of town. And then, voter fraud in California is real. It's just real. You know what I'm saying? So it was really interesting watching. Did you see the interview with Wolf Blitzer and Attorney General Barr?
Parts.
You saw parts of that? Yeah. That was brutal, man. That was brutal. I mean, I'm curious to see how bad the voter fraud is and how blatant the voter fraud is on election day, because I mean,
it won't be an election day. It'll be
election week.
I was just scrolling through an article talking about SF Chronicle posted this article. Very interesting title. I think I got a kick out of this headline. Check this out. California's late votes broke big for Democrats. Here's why GOP was surprised. Yeah. Would you be surprised if you were being sworn in and they said, actually, we counted an extra 30,000 votes and you lost? Like, what the hell? Why am I here then, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that did happen. And what was even more eerie, there was an article we can get into a little bit later about someone who explained how they used to not rig elections, but steal votes. And one of the things they would do is they would send people to ballot harvest. They'd take the ballot to their wherever. They'd basically steam the envelope, open it, swap a new envelope in, and mail it, which is definitely not that hard to do, man. Anyways, get some super chats. $5 super chat from Sly Cactus. He says, curious cactus question. If Cardin or Cody won the 2020 election, what would be your first executive order? What would yours, Cardin?
Oh, mine would actually two things. One president that promised it didn't do it, and another president that promised it did do it. When Mitt Romney said on day one, I will declare China a currency manipulator and open up which will trigger a UN investigation against them, that's the very first thing I would do. And unfortunately, don't get glossy-eyed and don't think, oh, what? Like, economic strength is probably the single most important strength out there. Many would argue more important than military strength. Others would say intertwined with military strength. But what China has done to the worldwide economy through their lying, their deception, and their filthy greed, all right, is so devastating and is based upon a very dishonest practice of currency manipulation, where they purposely devalue their own currency so that their labor is less expensive, thus their manufacturing less expensive, thus they suck up all of the manufacturing, which in the short term, which for them is only a 30 or 40 year period, you take a big hit having to manufacture goods for not as much expense and not as much profit. But they've slowly amassed the world's manufacturing, destroying all of American and honestly Western European manufacturing as well. So much so that then once they raise the prices again, they control everybody's manufacturing. They control everybody's production. We can't even get penicillin in America because we closed our last American penicillin factory in 2004. Okay. So the very first thing I would do if I were president was what Mitt Romney said he would do, and I would declare China a currency manipulator and start a robust investigation into their deceptive practices, because they are a deceptive country. And and then the second thing I would do would be unenforce through executive order the Johnson Amendment. But guess who already did that? Donald Trump. And then the third thing would be I would declare a national hero, Cody the Oracle, and I would give him the Presidential Medal of Honor in a ceremony broadcast during the State of the Union address. So Cody, you'd get your hardware, dog. You know what I'm saying? You'd get your hardware. And then I'd require all women to wear hot Louboutins and pencil skirts and form-fitted blouses.
What does the president do, Cardin?
I don't know, but no, just kidding. So that's what I do. And then Cody, what would your first executive order be?
It's tough only because I have to be honest, I don't know the exact from looking for.
I know what you would do. You would get rid of the constitutional democracy and you would create a monarchy.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, what can I do by executive order more? Honestly, I probably would. Could you do executive order to impose term limits on things like Congress people or stuff like that? I would do whatever legally I could as president through executive order to reduce things like Speaker Pelosi and some of these other people being in our government for 40 years and getting nothing accomplished. That'd be the biggest thing I would do. That's why I would never get elected president. I would run on president on getting people out of what I would literally be running for president, walking up to senators, Congress people, be like, I'm coming for your job, man. Like, that's why I'm running, to get you the hell out of here. So I probably will never go anywhere. A couple more super chats though.
Yep.
$5 from Adam Duffy said, I was grinding hard in college work when I saw y'all streaming. I appreciate the reprieve. I needed it. These poli-sci classes are kicking my butt. Well, thank you very
Adam
much,
Duffy.
man. Very cool, man. Very cool. It's you know what? I'm not very old either, but one day you'll look back and be like, I remember when I was just studying for classes. That was fun times. So anyway, Nathan Butcher, $5 super chat said, quote, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. End quote. Hashtag or not but me. Yes. Hey, dude, when it comes to running for political office, I definitely feel that way all the time. If you're not,
but you don't want a cheater running.
Dude,
you don't want a cheater running. Then we get Katie Hill.
I do want a cheater running, and I want them running in my best.
No, you
interest.
want an ambitious person. No, but a cheater.
I want
them.
No,
you want an ambitious and competent person, not a cheater.
Hey, honey,
come on.
We're getting very close to arguing semantics. And one more $5 super chat from JS Automation. He said, went to both Biden and Trump's events in Pennsylvania this week. Strong manufacturing state that's coming out of the literal woods for Trump. He will win Pennsylvania. Dude, all the data is pointing to Trump doing very well in swing states. I posted this on Twitter earlier. I guess we'll bring this up. I thought this was interesting. Just going to another one of these swing states. So apparently, every year in Minnesota, since 1984, there's a bakery. And what they do is, and I think they have the video. You guys can watch the video right up top here. They sell two different cookies. They sell a cookie for one of the candidates, cookie for the other. And then they figure out, buying a cookie is how you would support the candidate. There's a video playing right. You can get a look at it. And apparently, according to them in Minnesota this year, this is the most dramatic advantage they'd ever seen in one thing. So that was just a little bit.
Really?
They mentioned here, yeah. So that here's the they go through.
That guy used a lot of cookies.
A week ago, Hanish Bakery in Red Wing launched its 2020 presidential cookie poll. The bakery tallies each Trump or Biden cookie purchase until Election Day. The bakery says that demand this year has already surpassed what they saw in the last election. Pretty crazy. So far, President Trump has a very large lead of 2,576 cookies to 696 for Joe Biden.
Whoa.
So I'll tell you, in the 25 years I've been here, I've never seen it like this.
See, that's what I'm telling you.
Unscientific, but again, just speaking of
they were saying the same thing about the internet polls, bro.
I mean, the anecdotal street level, go to both things. What are people?
And we are on the streets. We got street cred.
What you are seeing in places like Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and some of these other swing states does seem to be. That seems to be the way things are heading right now. In these states that could go either way, it does seem like Donald Trump has been winning people over. Again, anecdotal stuff here is the goofy story about cookies, but you're seeing more and more small things like that coming up.
Yeah, and it's incredible, to be honest with you. It's absolutely incredible in my opinion. So I think the methodologies of the scientific polls have not been corrected, and I think it's going to be an absolute landslide because honestly, the fear. I've never seen as much polling data on gosh, I don't know what the scientific term would be, but I've just seen a lot of polling data most recently in which people have been expressing whether or not they answer polls honestly. You guys got to look this up. There's been a lot of polling done recently in which they've asked Republicans, what percentage of you, or do you tell the truth when people call you? And there is so much fear. There's so much fear that somebody's going to show up and throw a brick through your window if they find out that you're a conservative out there. That it was 12% always lie. And then another 12 or 13% say that they basically almost always lie. And so 25% of Republicans out there aren't even saying how they're voting because of fear of being outed as a conservative. But in the privacy of the voting booth, they'll actually, boom, pull the lever or burst the Chad. Okay, the hanging Chad for the conservative candidate, which is why you can't trust half of these polls. And I think these weird little cookie polls are closer to the truth than anything else. Now, granted, I don't think it's going to be a 4-1 blowout, which the cookie poll would put it at, but a landslide victory, yeah, most definitely. Besides, Trump people, they're just sweeter. They like cookies, and they're not as disciplined as you. Like, you don't eat sugar, Cody. That's why you're ripped, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I still got this little double chin going on right here because I fixed a freaking soda pop vending machine, and I got off my anti-soda kick that was lasting 6 weeks. That had I've gained like 20 pounds back in 6 months. It's crazy. But yeah. Anyway, let me get back here. Catch up with the super chats. Oh, excuse me. Okay, here we go. Oh wait, no, we already got Sly Cactuses. We got JS Automations. Oh yeah, sorry, he was talking about Pennsylvania too. By the way,
We're all caught up.
Yeah, I think he's gonna landslide Pennsylvania.
Did I say the wrong state again?
No. There was this huge push 6 weeks ago where there was the big battleground states poll that came out, and all of the mainstream media news outlets were like, oh, see, he's losing Wisconsin. See, he's losing Pennsylvania. All these states that he has to win and had to win in 2016, they're all just going to be flukes, and Joe Biden's ahead. Yeah, and then in like every single one of those states, they've basically burnt every municipality to the ground. You know what I'm saying? And
but also, hold on.
25% of the Republicans are lying about whether or not they're going to vote for him. No, it's going to be a slaughterhouse in Trump's favor.
Who knows? But I will say one thing.
There's no other reason they're pushing mail-in ballot voting if they didn't think they had to win through widespread cheating.
I would caution anyone in the chat to avoid that type of thinking.
Yeah. No, what?
Sure.
We've lived this, Cody. We are in the most vote-in ballot cheated state in the union.
Sure, very much so. That could potentially be it. There also is other reasons, dude.
Okay, like what?
Don't give yourself an excuse to just stop thinking. I came up with one reason, done. I don't have to use my brain anymore. I figured it out already.
Name one thing that has made you think that Democrats aren't cheaters. Now, you like the cheaters because you demand the cheatdom.
That's separate. That's okay. Something that, my point is this, dude. Like, just doing that line of thinking of like, well, maybe Democrats don't vote mail-in voting because it would be easier to commit fraud. So, boom, right there, done. Cut it, print. No more thinking for anybody. No more nuance. No more depth. No more angles. We're done. That's it. Like, dude, there's more to it than that. There is legitimately other reasons. One, what if it could be other reasons. It could be legitimately they know if they're not really hard line on their stances with like how they've been, because they've been saying, like killing grandma, right? Very, very hard line on coronavirus lockdown stances. They might just think it makes them look hypocritical, man. Even though, by the way, there's something else too. The NBA players went on strike. They didn't play games until TV executives got involved. But until then, they didn't play games for a couple of days. And one of the concessions they got from the league, the owners, right, was to open up NBA arenas as polling centers.
Oh.
Is that because the NBA is pro-Trump? Is that because LeBron James wanted to help the Republicans out? He wanted to make sure Democrats could steal the election? I mean, seriously, like, if that really is like why weren't the Democratic operatives like calling them saying like, no, you can't let that happen. You have to tell everybody. Like, I do think there is some people who did say we're going to have to do mail-in voting because it'll be too dangerous. And I think they're too arrogant and stupid to admit maybe it's not going to be the case in November. Maybe in November, with the right precautions, like Dr. Birx and Fauci and a lot of other people have said, with the right precautions, we can definitely vote in person in November. We'll be okay to do that.
So you think there's going to be in-person voting in November? I think no way.
There'll of course be some. I mean,
no, dude. There's only any state where Democrats have an influence.
At the peak of the coronavirus epidemic, there was in-person voting.
Yeah, and they all got smashed for it. And the reason why they got smashed for it was because the Democrats know they cannot win a real, actual, traditional election. Therefore, they are banking on massive, widespread mail-in voting so that they can cheat in the proven ways they know how to cheat. In the same way that we got Al Franken elected with those magical 800 ballots that showed up in the trunk of that poor Somali district of Minnesota. We just forgot these 800. Oh, and you lost by 2? Well, you actually won by 798. You know what I'm saying? That is what they are banking on. Being able to nudge that extra 5 to 6% over the person that doesn't have it.
Maybe in your opinion, that's a theory you have.
I've lived through the cheating of Democrats my entire adult life.
That is a theory you have as to something that could be going on.
No, it's not a theory. They had to go look up California Department of State, 150,000 names removed the month after the election, not the month before, but the month after.
You're not a mind reader or a future teller. So you could have a theory about what's going on. But unless you can read their minds and tell the future, you don't know what will happen and why they're doing it for sure. No one does. No one can meet. Maybe, you know what? I don't know. Maybe I'm some big dummy over here who can't read minds and see the future. Maybe everyone else can, walking around. Oh, I know what you're thinking. I can see what's going to happen in the future. Like I understand that's your position, and you've made a case for it. But just saying that's what's going on, that's what will happen, is a little bit over the line. Not over the line, over the top. I mean, a little bit excessive, don't you think?
No, I don't think it's excessive because we experienced what ballot harvesting got us. When you dump a bunch of cash into people harvesting votes that are showing up after election day, you get people like Katie Hill. I, for one, don't want cheaters. I want noble and honorable men who win in noble and honorable ways because they have a noble and honorable message to win, like we kind of used to have, or at least kind of used to expect. Because when you don't, you get disasters like Katie Hill.
Okay, what I'm saying is, dude, the average, like the NBA players suddenly went on strike and they're not trying to help Trump out, and they wanted to open up in-person polling, like in-person voting. Like I don't think there's this massive wave of people against in-person voting. I just think there's a move to bring in mail-in voting as well. And I agree. I'll admit I don't think it's necessary. I think we can vote in person, and I do think it's just there's too much potential for anybody to commit fraud for any reason.
Okay.
Because let me tell you something. You know why the average person will commit mail-in fraud? I mean, you know why if there was going to be fraud with mail-in ballots, do you know why they would do it?
Okay.
No, you know why someone would do it probably? The actual person stuffing ballots. Why they'd be doing it?
Yeah, because they're getting paid.
Exactly.
Dark money.
There'd be no ideological bend. There'd be no party that, like...
No, I know. Katie Hill got $4 million. You don't think some of that went into shady ballot harvesting? I know for a fact it did.
I regret the fact that I brought her name up because she's scarred you deeply. But, dude, what I'm saying is this. Anybody, some random dude, can just decide, I'm going to be the Republican senator from this state and spend a bunch of money on people stuffing ballots. I agree. I think the universal mail-in system of just sending everyone a ballot, whether they want one or not, and then saying, like, well, don't send it in if you're not going to vote. Or if you're going to vote in person, vote in person. Like, I think that would lead to fraud from anyone, dude. It could lead to fraud. Some guy could just be like, well, hot damn, I want to open up my mind. That's why I don't like, someone could just say, I want to change the way our state gives land rights away, and I'm going to do it by spending a couple $100 million bribing people to steal an election because it'd be weak, low-lying
So we got some questions.
There's no ideological political bend. It's just who has the cash who wants to pay people to pound the pavement, grab those ballots, and then swap them out. Because I agree, the universal system of just sending them out to everyone, somebody will commit fraud somewhere, of course. I don't think a party's got a certain
they
ideological
just indicted
cabal.
a dude in Texas for doing 1,400 of these things.
Dude,
in less than a week. We had the 14% that got tossed out of New Jersey. We had the 150,000 names here. And dude, I'm just going off at the top of my head. I'm not even talking about the people that have actually gone to jail for this kind of crap. I'm just talking about recent stories. I don't even know if they've gone through the court system yet. I mean, this has become a thing in the chat, so we're going to address it. All right. So MTSLR says, so the mail-in voting Democrats are promoting is to promote fraud. Yeah, absolutely. It's to promote control that they know they could get through fraud if they needed to. Okay. I don't think Nancy Pelosi is worried. No, I don't think think about this. If you were in control of an election and you're like, okay, I want to get reelected and I can either endorse this system in which, okay, I'll probably get, let me finish. I don't think Nancy Pelosi is worried about who she's going to hire for voter fraud because she's going to win 70-30, whether it's mail-in or whether it's in person. But south of her, in the district where it's like a 53-47 split and the margin of error is 5 points and the Republican could win, you sure as hell know that she wants her party to have mail-in voting in that section, and she'll accept mail-in voting in her section as well, so that in case she's got to pay somebody to nudge that 3% so that her comrade wins in the district south of her. Yeah, that's what mail-in ballot voting does. Dude. It doesn't make it so you cheat in every district. It makes it so you can cheat in the districts where you need to, so you win the majority.
Okay, but it cuts both ways, dude.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. Dude, I've literally spoken with a Republican political campaign guy sitting here telling me every single house that has a ballot in it, you go to them and you get that ballot out of their house, you have to vote for your candidate. Dude, this notion that there's some party that would of course pounce and others that wouldn't. Dude, all this is gonna do is make running for office more expensive because everybody's gonna have to have their ballot stealers they pay off because that's the way this system works now. It doesn't help any party.
Which makes it so only corporate backed
candidates. It doesn't help any party, though.
It doesn't help any party. Democrats are always the ones
pulling
off.
Rich
Look
Republicans?
at all of these.
There's no rich Republicans.
Oh, they could, but they don't. And look, I'm for one saying Republicans need to quit
wait,
griping and need to start doing this.
Don't forever or haven't yet. Maybe
at least haven't yet.
Maybe they'll catch on. So why would they want to promote this? Doesn't make any sense. Why? So Republicans could flip seats they never were able to flip before? That's why Nancy Pelosi's big brain plan is to push forward a specific type of voting, specifically so fraud can be committed, so she could lose her safe blue seat potentially.
No, but she's not, because she's got that cheese on lockdown and she's not stupid.
But dude, what about other safe blue seats in other parts of the country that they'll lose to? I'm saying is this
because they're too stupid. Republicans are too stupid to ballot harvest. That's the problem.
Currently, forever.
And also, you're talking about the paradox of intolerance.
If you're always, everywhere.
Right now, they're too dumb.
Okay, but I guarantee.
At least the California ones.
I guarantee you,
by and large,
you lose an election or two that way. You probably learn quick, man. I just don't buy that a particular party's pushing for this. I don't.
Okay, if we were to take all of the ballot harvesting cheating going on right now, 7 out of 8 of the districts are going to be Democrat districts.
That's just hyperbole.
No, that's not hyperbole. Take that to the bank. Prove me otherwise.
No, you have to prove your claim. I have to disprove it. You have to prove what you say.
The 3 that I just mentioned all happened in Democrat districts.
I can think off the top of my head, dude, the Republicans do it. Politicians are slimy scumbags who lie and cheat and steal. I don't care what letter they put by their name. You do.
No,
evidently.
No.
But it doesn't matter.
If you were a lying and cheating scumbag, you would be far more attracted to the Democrat Party than you would the Republican.
No, you wouldn't. That's crazy.
Because at least one is limited government and is wanting to limit your power, whereas one is pro-government and you're going to get more power.
Hey, I'll tell you what, dude. If I was really interested in power, maybe I want to be the person in control of the limited power party, so I can control just how limited we really are in that power. Dude, it goes both ways, man. Anyway, my Melanated Scope. Thank you. Welcome back, man. $5 super chat. He said, y'all should have other political analysis. We can flood them on Twitter for you guys. LLPS, what would you want to see? Also, hey, guys. Thank you, man. Welcome. And welcome back, And honestly, I don't know what political channel I'd want to have on. I don't know. What would you have, Carden? I would like to have.
I want to have comedians. Channels. There's some comedians that are killer right now. Andrew Schultz is crushing it. Ryan Long is crushing it.
I'll go quickly. If I could have one.
Dave Chappelle.
If I could have one person on our show.
Who? Mariah Carey.
Okay, YouTube related. Obviously, Mariah Carey.
Wait, can I guess? Let me guess.
Try to guess.
Bald and bankrupt.
That would be cool. Actually, no, just watch his video. I think it'd be fun to have. I don't know what I even talked to him about, but I just think interesting personality. I think Lindy Beige, she's a good YouTuber, so shout out to him. Go look him up.
Oh, Lindy Beige. Oh, why do I know that? He's a gamer YouTuber, right?
No.
What's he do?
Look him up. Interesting guy.
Lindy Beige. Or what about the black dude 916? Hey guys,
Big Herc?
We got to get together. Big Kurt here.
Big Herc? I know Big Herc on. Big Herc.
Yeah, actually, he seems like he's a pretty cool
I saw
cat.
someone tweet something out, and Big Herc actually went. He did go to federal prison for bank robbery, so he could be pardoned. So I will. Whoever pardons him, cool. He's a very cool guy. Again, look him up on YouTube. Yeah, Big Herc 916, I believe, on YouTube. Yeah. I think that's his channel now. Very cool guy. Look him up. Carden always makes fun of him, but I like his videos. I very much.
Oh no, dude! I want him as a neighbor. Like, I want Big Kurt.
He lives in Los Angeles.
Yeah, dude. If I were wealthy, I would literally contact that guy and be like, I will pay 50% of your rent if you just move in next to me. Because he seems like he would be the most epic, sick, and fun neighbor. Like, hey, kids, go play at Uncle Big Kirk's. You know what I'm saying? That, and I want a little person. I think it'd be awesome to have a little person as a neighbor. Just be like total buds with it.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
crazy. Wow.
And then we would just have a
Lovely.
gang. You know what I'm saying?
Lovely.
We'd it'd be like Don Quixote and Sancho.
Okay.
And, like,
Oh, moving on.
it'd be sick.
Moving on. What tech YouTuber you see?
What tech YouTuber? I don't know too many tech
I honestly
YouTubers.
just watch Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah, I was going to
mostly.
say, I got Linus Tech Tips.
I'm one of the surprisingly one of the hundreds of millions of LTT people out there.
So you're a Linus Tech Tips guy. You're not a Twit This Week in Tech with Leo Lepore?
No.
Or is that too boomer? Is that too boomer?
Dude, I watch mostly on YouTube. I mostly watch like history and video game stuff on YouTube. Mostly history stuff. With,
That's true. What's your favorite history channel?
I guess it's probably Lindy Beige. She's probably my favorite.
Is he a history YouTuber?
More or less. He does all kinds of stuff. More or less.
Oh, wait. Lindy Beige is the weapon guy.
Not really. He's more or less history.
Okay. I like that Mark Felton Productions cat. He does some really cool stuff. Generally World War II, but it seems pretty
He is very
interesting.
Cool. Oh, no, super chat.
Yeah.
My melanated scope, $5. Thank you very much, man. Says I would suggest Tim Pool because I think him and Cardin would see eye to eye in some things, and him and Cody would be at each other's throats.
Oh,
LOL.
Dude,
Very
by
funny.
the way, go back and look at Tim Pool's videos from like 2 years ago. I have so many comments on there just saying Tim Pool is a conservative who just hasn't gotten beaten up by the liberals enough yet to convert over. And then sure enough, here we are 2 years later, and he's like a freaking bigger Trumper than I am. You know what I'm saying? That cat's been put through the ringer by Antifa and by the radical left, just like trying to shut down his life for saying things as simple as I vote for Bernie. I like Bernie more, but conservatives have like at least one good idea. You're a racist. You know what I'm saying? So once he got to experience the burn, the real burn, then he is fulfilling in real time the old phrase that if you're not a liberal pre-30, then you don't have a heart. If you are a liberal post-30, then you don't have a brain or whatever. We are watching that happen in real time with Tim Pool. So
Wow, man. When
What?
you guys gonna get married, dude?
what'd you say?
So when are you guys getting married, man?
He'd have to take off his beanie for the ceremony, and I don't think he'd ever do that. Also, he was invited to a White House
I know
ball.
maybe he's Jewish.
No, he's not.
How do you know he isn't?
No, because he said he's stated
He
before.
could be lying. Maybe he's lying. That's why he always wears a hat because he's Jewish. I don't know. Just saying.
What are you saying, bro? No, just kidding.
Saying that is a I was gonna say quirk. I don't know if that's the word, but yeah. Either way, it's like remember it's Arrested Development. I don't know. Either way, but yeah. Honestly, I'm trying to think like political YouTubers. I honestly don't watch as many like political YouTubers.
There's some ones I'd never have on the show. Because it'd be an absolute waste of time. Young Turks. That's just any of them. They're just like,
Sure, I guess. I don't know.
Intellectually dishonest. I wouldn't have anybody that's intellectually
Honestly, you
dishonest.
know what though? Yeah, I would rather have Bald and Bankrupt on than most people. But no, yeah. There's you know what? I would have Ian from Forgotten Weapons on.
Yeah. Bald and Bankrupt would be sick.
That'd be pretty cool.
There's a lot of comedians. I'd want to have the comedians on. I totally want to have. I think Andrew Schultz is crushing it right now. I think Ryan Long is crushing it right now. I think Dave Chappelle is crushing it. He's made some bogus comments over the past 2 months where I'm just like, I was a little detached or a little outdated, but I still think he saved comedy in 2020. So he needs to be on. Let me see who else is crushing it on the comedy scene that I'm listening a lot to right now. I would have a funny guy named Joe Coy on. He's a Filipino comedian.
Yeah, dude, he's been around for a while. Yeah.
He's been around for a while. He does some hilarious stuff. So I'd have him on. And then...
okay, well, there we go. That was Super Chat. We'll wrap it up here. Enough talking about...
Okay, we'll wrap
Adam
it up.
Duffy says, can you get Mr. Beast? Probably not, dude. Mr. Beast probably commands a fairly... Mr. Beast
His
is like...
mustache bugs me.
He does.
He'd
Mr.
have
Beast
to
is like
shave.
doing stuff with Obama now, isn't he? He's like on a new level. But anyway, so
Yeah.
before we start wrapping up here, Carter, any other things you want to talk about as far as news lately?
No. Last question, though, is Trevor Tops says, Crystal and Sauger. Yeah, I'd have Crystal and Sauger on. Crystal won't budge. But I'd be interested in
I will. Hold on a second. I have no problem admitting I'm a little bit biased and a little bit prejudicial in this sense. When I found out that Crystal was like independently mega wealthy, like loaded.
Yeah, it's
not like a wealthy, high-paid media personality, but like millions and millions of dollars. It did make me.
She's a limousine liberal that's got the white guilt.
I
who's
do
just
gotta say,
doing
when you're like saying you're a left wing populist, but you're worth like millions and millions, I'm just like, really, like, why? Why would you want to be if you're this like independently wealthy individual?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought that it's fun.
Well. Plus, I mean, when you can't budge, when there's glaring examples in front of your face, like she couldn't when she was on the Joe Rogan podcast about the riots, and she was still maintaining that they're peaceful protests, and it's like, I'm standing in front of the building that's burning. You know what I'm saying? I just don't. I just lose respect when you're that intellectually dishonest. I just lose respect. So anyway, Adam Duffy says, I see 80 viewers and 24 likes. Fix it, chat. That's right. Thank you, Adam Duffy. Fix that, chat. Smash that like or that dislike. Cody likes it when you dislike because he feels it's more just authentic. And to a certain extent, I do as well. So Sly Cactus says, what's the best nation in the whole world? This donation. Oh, dude, Sly Cactus, man. He wins the I want to have a beer with the guy.
But the best
award.
nation in the world is Albania. So
The best nation in the world is Albania. That's always the one that comes up first, though, when it says what country you're in and you're filling out an internet survey. It's always Albania. I always notice that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, dude, looking around, Crystal Ball's worth in the tens of millions up to potentially.
yeah,
like,
what's her wealth from? I know her family's from Kentucky.
I think like it's like literally like married. Like she's just one of the rich people. Like, yeah, at a certain point, where does your wealth come from when you're in $44 million? Right?
Yeah. So it's crazy. I would really like to know more about Sagar and Jetty. He seems see. There's things where I'll disagree with him on something.
Here's the thing, though, if a
I think it's
right-wing-
because he's a Beltway Republican.
Yeah.
I don't
Even
think he's
if-
still in the trenches here. And also, I think your view of the political landscape is completely different in California than it is in other states. You know what I'm saying? Where there's a little bit more balance between Republicans and Democrats. I think here in California, it's so unbalanced, so corrupt, and so bad that just a Californian Republican, I think, is probably a Democrat in any other state. Is a center-left Democrat in any other state. That's what I think.
It's depending.
You know what I'm
There's
saying?
some red parts of California, dude.
Yeah, two. Yeah, Kern County, and that's why McCarthy keeps winning. You know, like Kern County.
Dude, hold on.
Parts of Orange County, that's it.
Who's our Lackey, our assemblyman?
Oh, Tom Lackey?
Is he a Democrat in other states?
We have very, very liberal Republicans here.
I'm just saying.
I mean, come on. We have really play ball with the Democrat Republicans here. This ain't no
Hold
place
on
a heavy
one second.
book on the red button state assembly here, okay?
Christian Solid just said, watch the movie Taken. It will change your view about Albania. Hey, I think that was the old Albania. This is new Albania now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, thank you very much
Hey,
for watching.
Albania does have one of the coolest flags in the world, though.
Okay, now you got to throw it up before we go.
You've never seen the flag of Albania?
No, what is it?
Philistine. Any one of you hasn't seen the flag of Albania?
Call me a
Philistine.
Philistine. Ow. Just hit my freaking hand on my
It's
own.
one of the
desk.
all-time. It's one of the.
Oh,
great
that is cool.
flags.
That looks like a Deutschland one, though.
I don't know. It's just an interesting design. You don't see a lot like this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Throw that up there so people can see it.
Flag of Albania. Well, we'll end you with this.
Yeah.
You're all a little bit smarter than you were before you started.
Albania.
That is what the flag is.
Albania.
It does look a bit ominous, but it's
Yeah.
still not my favorite flag. My favorite flag is the Estonian flag outside of America. My favorite non-American flag is the Estonian flag. So.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much for hanging out with us, guys. To everybody that gave us super chats, thank you very much for the super chats. Oh, especially Michael. That was a great super chat today. Thank you very much. Keep it real. If you're driving, drive safe. And we're going to be here hopefully Mondays and Thursday next week. So make sure that you mark your calendars for that, as well as hopefully daily uploads. So, yeah, stay tuned. This is Problem Solver Politics. We'll